The Ukrainian military said on Saturday that it had hit the Borysoglebsk airfield in the Voronezh region. According to Kyiv, the base contained Russian Sukhoi Su-34, Su-35S, and Su-30SM military jets. They said they hit a glide bomb depot and training aircraft, as well as other machines. The defense forces continue to take all measures to undermine the ability of the Russian occupiers to attack civilian infrastructure and to force the Russian Federation to cease its armed aggression against Ukraine, the armed forces said in a post on Telegram. Voronezh Governor Alexander Gusev reported that there was damage, but did not say what had been hit. The Defense Ministry said 94 Ukrainian drones were shot down, 34 of which were over the Voronezh region. Ukraine also reported further Russian drone strikes on Saturday morning. Military Governor Ole Sinigubov posted on Telegram that at least 3 people, including a 12-year-old boy, had been injured in the city of Chuhuiv. Meanwhile, according to data from the NASA Firm Service, an abnormal temperature rise was detected at the Borysoglebsk airfield, which may indicate a successful drone attack. A large fire was recorded at 3:30 a.m. This airbase has been attacked before. In August 2024, strike drones targeted the military airfield in the same city, Borysoglebsk, the Voronezh region. It should be noted that this is not the first attack on the training center. On June 2, 2025, the territory of the Aviation Training Center was previously targeted by drones. As a result of the strike, 2 servicemen were killed, despite attempts by the Russian Ministry of Defense to conceal the attack. The center was also attacked in April 2024, when one of the strike drones crashed into the facade of the building at the level of the 4th floor around 3 a.m. An hour later, another drone hit the same area. At that time, the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine reported damage to a production workshop. Ukrainian long-range drones struck a production facility for Shahed, Jiran-2, loitering munition warheads in Russia's Moscow region early on July 4th, according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. The attack was carried out by operators of the 14th Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Regiment of the Ukrainian Armed Forces Unmanned Systems Forces in coordination with other elements of the defense forces. The strike targeted the Scientific Research Institute of Applied Chemistry, NII Prikladnoy Chemii, in Sergiev Posad, a key site for producing thermobaric warheads for Iranian-designed Shahed drones used by Russian forces. The facility is currently involved in manufacturing thermobaric warheads for Shahed-type UAVs and plays a critical role in Russia's ongoing military aggression against Ukraine, Ukraine's General Staff said in a statement. The institute operates under the Russian state defense organization Rostec and is subject to international sanctions for its involvement in military programs. It is located more than 500 kilometers from Ukraine's border. Ukrainian forces confirmed that their strike systems successfully reached the intended target. A fire and heavy smoke were observed in the area. The full extent of the damage is still being assessed. The unmanned systems forces added that a power substation supplying the facility had also been hit during the operation. The Russian Institute specializes in the development and production of more than 500 types of specialized pyrotechnic devices used in missile, aerospace, and artillery systems. The strike is part of Ukraine's broader campaign to degrade Russia's ability to conduct airstrikes by targeting drone and missile supply chains. On Friday morning, Russian authorities acknowledged drone attacks in several areas, including the Moscow region. Local reports from Sergiev Posad confirmed a substation fire that caused power cuts across several neighborhoods. A Russian FPV drone struck a pickup truck carrying Ukrainian soldiers in the Donetsk region. The troops managed to evacuate just in time, so luckily, no one was injured.
Насколько часов? Пошли, пошли.
Russians were asked about the sharp increase in utility tariffs. Turns out, the empire needs to be paid, because there is no choice.
Are you satisfied with the prices of housing and utilities?
If they weren't acceptable, we wouldn't live here.
Well, the power of the empire. You have to pay. There's no avoiding it. There's no choice. If there were a choice, but there isn't.
Oh, what is there to say? You know the situation yourself. What is there to say? We need to achieve victory. Then everything. Prices will not decrease. They will be as they are. Let it be as it will be.
Well, now everyone is raising prices. I think they are trying to somehow balance the economy, find money somewhere, because the times are, let's say, very challenging. But still, the SVO eats up, I think, a lot. Well, I mean, paying each soldier their benefits greatly affects popular products and everything else.
Not satisfied at all. Why did they raise them? Why don't they raise people's salaries but raise utilities? Again, the prices for food. This is an absolute horror, a silent horror.
I am just from Soviet times, and I live by the principle, if you can change something, then think and worry. But if you cannot change it, then there is no point in thinking about it. So whether it suits me or not, I just don't think about it.
Satellite images have confirmed damage to aircraft and air defense systems following a recent security service of Ukraine attack on the Kirovsky military airbase in temporarily occupied Crimea. The Dnipro-Harbuz Telegram channel published the images of the airbase. According to the satellite images, the destruction of a Pantsir-S 1 air defense missile system and 3 helicopters, whose exact identification is currently impossible, has been confirmed. Meanwhile, the Security Service of Ukraine reported that the damaged equipment included Mi-8 and Mi-26 transport helicopters, as well as a Mi-28 attack helicopter. The strike on the airbase took place on June 28, 2025, when Ukrainian strike drones successfully reached the Kirovsky military airbase in Crimea during the night. The initial confirmation of the strike on the airfield came from NASA satellite images, which revealed intense fire outbreaks at the site, clearly indicating accurate hits. For further insight, we recommend reading the in-depth article on Militarny titled "From Ukraine's Tu-142M to Drone Strikes, the Kirovsky Air Base That Remains Unforgotten." The Kirovsky Air Base is one of the key facilities in eastern Crimea, which Russia actively uses to provide aviation support for its forces. Ukraine's defense ministry has authorized the R-34T unmanned aerial vehicle for deployment by the country's armed forces, the agency announced on July 4th. The Ukrainian-made drone is equipped with a laser targeting system designed to illuminate enemy positions for precision-guided munitions, including artillery and air-dropped weapons. According to the ministry, the laser designator significantly boosts the effectiveness of guided weapons, especially at long range and in conditions of active Russian air defenses. The R-34T also features secure communication channels, modular architecture, and resilience against electronic warfare systems. The ministry added that the drone will help optimize the use of available resources, reduce ammunition waste, and lower risks to operators and combat units. Earlier, the Defense Ministry reported that in the first 6 months of 2025, it codified and approved nearly 50 new types of military vehicles from Ukrainian manufacturers. On June 30th, the ministry authorized the domestically produced Rani-13 attack drone for use in Ukraine's armed forces. The UAV, controlled via a fiber optic link, was developed with input from combat-experienced Ukrainian troops. Best news of the day: more Ukrainian prisoners were freed from Russian captivity. Another stage of the prisoner exchange between Ukraine and Russia took place, in line with the agreements reached in Istanbul. The coordination headquarters for the treatment of prisoners of war confirmed this. Many of those who returned home had been held in Russian captivity since 2022. The coordination headquarters reported that among those freed were Ukrainian servicemen who had been illegally convicted, as well as civilians unlawfully deprived of their freedom. This group includes wounded and seriously ill defenders, as well as young individuals under the age of 25. Those who return to their families are service members from the armed forces of Ukraine, including the Navy Ground Forces, Territorial Defense Forces, Air Assault Forces, and Special Operations Forces, along with personnel from the National Guard of Ukraine, the State Border Guard Service, and the State Transport Special Service. The youngest freed defender is only 20 years old, while the oldest is 59. In addition to soldiers and sergeants, several officers were also released. Among those freed today are also defenders of Mariupol, who had been held in captivity since 2022. The vast majority of those released had spent over 3 years in captivity. Also, Ukrainians who defended the country on the Donetsk, Kharkiv, Luhansk, and Kherson sectors return home. The exact number of individuals released will be announced after all stages of the exchange are completed, in accordance with the Istanbul agreements. Immediately after their release from captivity, the defenders will undergo the necessary medical examinations, receive support for physical and psychological rehabilitation, and be provided with all the financial compensation due for the entire period of their captivity. The previous group of Ukrainian servicemen, those under the age of 25 and severely wounded, was successfully returned from Russian captivity on June 26th.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.